Hi, welcome to NodeMCU tutorial from Robojax. My name is Ahmad Shamshiri. I'm presenting this tutorial from Canada. In this tutorial, we're going to see how we can control over the Wi-Fi the direction of rotation of a DC motor with two relay using NodeMCU and D1 Mini. And then clockwise, the rotation will change, or using your mobile phone. And using mobile device and D1 Mini with a large motor, smaller motor with NodeMCU. You can get the code for this by clicking at the link below the video in the description, which will take you to robojax.com/learn/Arduino. Let's get started with this. I've seen a lot of requests of controlling DC motor over the Wi-Fi with NodeMCU and D1 Mini ESP8266. Here I've written the code and prepared the project for you. We are going to use a two relay module like this. I have separate video explaining this module, and also I have separate video showing how to control a motor using two push button with Arduino. But this is over the Wi-Fi. The code that I've written will work for these both, any ESP8266, either D1 Mini or NodeMCU. It will just work fine. And that you can connect is any voltage, let's say for 200 volts, up to 10 ampere these relays can handle. But if you can find larger relay module that can handle more current, that's also fine. I'm using the 5 volts motor. We'll be using this 12 volts motor. This module has 4 pins. This is ground and this is VCC. This is input 1, input 2. Input 1 will turn on this relay number 1. Input 2 will turn on the relay number 2. For each relay we have 3 pins here. The volt that comes at this point is powering up the relay and powering up these optocoupler devices that is separating the driver and the power. The jumper that will allow you to connect separate 5 volts. And because we are using external power, this is not of our concern, and we will leave it as is. And here's the model of the motor that I'm using. You can buy it from Walmart, I believe. Now let me explain the wiring. If you need a wiring diagram for this, it will be available as part of my course at udemy.com, where you can learn Arduino step by step in a structured course with all the material, library and code, with wiring diagram for each project in one place. The link for my Udemy course is below the video in the description. This relay we have 3 terminals, and for this relay also we have 3 terminals. These 3 belong to this relay. From the right side of this relay number 2, put a wire connected to the first pin or the right side of relay number 1, and then leave the middle open, and then from the last one get another wire and connect it to the last one of this one. 2 wires are connected to the battery where the motor is powered up. To connect the 2 wires for the motor, one at the middle of this relay and the other at the middle of this relay. And here is my motor. There are 2 wires for the motor are connected, one to the middle of this relay, the other to the middle of this relay. These are not critical. Swap them to achieve the desired direction of rotation. This side for the relay, there is a jumper here. Make sure that the jumper you see is as it is. Do not change it. If it is on the other location, it might be like this. I have explained it in a separate video. I'm not going through that, so it should be on the left side. To the 5 volts, separate 5 volts for this module, and this goes to the ground of a separate voltage for the module. This input 1 is connected to D2 and input 2 is connected to D1. These are the pins for the NodeMCU. And from the NodeMCU, I have connected one ground to the same ground that is going here. So if you pay attention here, this goes to the relay and this also goes to the relay. But I have connected ground to this. So you must have from your NodeMCU, you must have 3 wires. One to the ground and these 2 to the input of the relay in here. And here for the D1 mini, these two wires have been connected to the D1 and D2 here, and this is also going to the ground where the relay is connected to the ground of relay. This wire and this wire are connected to the external 5 volts, to my external 5 volts here. The first thing that you need to prepare is your Arduino for ESP8266. I have a separate video explaining that, but here I can tell you quickly. I will provide you the link. Click on File, Preferences, and then Additional Board Manager's URL. Click here, and then paste the link that I provided. I will provide you this one, so you copy and paste it here. Once you paste it, you click OK, and then click OK. Now this link will make Arduino to know where to look for the board. Then click on Tools, Board, and then Board Manager. Once you are able to type ESP8266. Then you will see this ESP8266 by ESP8266 community. And if you have not installed it, in my case it is installed and there is a remove button. In your case, if you have not installed it, you will see here install button. Click on it and wait until the bar graph finishes and then close. And you have to select your board before using it. Click on Tools, Boards, and here there are tons of other boards, but the one that we are using will be generic ESP8266 module. Select this, and the rest of the settings should be automatic. And then you have to select, of course, the right port. If you don't know what is the port that you're using, on the Start menu, right click, go to Device Manager, or any other way that you have. Go to Device Manager, and under the port, collapse it, and you will see serial, USB serial. Maybe you will see some different number, but this is a chip for USB CH340, that's COM11, and that's why I've selected here in the COM11. Now let me explain the code. For the code, you have to first understand that this is an HTML page. This is coming from the NodeMCU and D1 Mini. So when I press this page is generated and sent via the web server of D1 Mini or NodeMCU, and every time I press, different pages showing up. And if I press Ctrl U, you will see the code of this page here. This is an HTML code, the beginning and end, and here we have 3 push button, 1, 2, 3. This is the main title here that you see it here, and motor off is in here, and then the 3 button, and they will change accordingly. So this is generated, and I'm going to explain it in the code so you can see where it is coming from. Started this code by taking an example from, if you click on File, Example, and under the example for generic ESP8266 module, go to ESP8266 web server and then Advanced Web Server. I've heavily modified it for our purpose. I'm going to explain only those portions that I've changed, and briefly, you can learn full detail of the code from my course at udemy.com. The link for my course is below this video. These pens, I've taken it from GitHub, so you don't worry about the pen mapping. These are the exact numbers that are printed on the board, so we just enter as they are. Here, relay on, relay off, I've defined 2 variables here for relay pin 1. For relay 1 pin and relay 2 pin, I've defined D1 and D2. These are the pins that are printed on the board, and motor direction 0 is CW, 1 is CCW. Do not change it, so you can change only these 2. And then the initial state of the motor, either 0 means off, 1 means on. So do not change these two as well. You can change here motor on, or you can fan or something that you want. So you can change this, not change this CCW, button title 1, button title 2, or arrays that are holding it. And do not change this argument arg ID or argument ID. These are the commands that are coming from here. If I bring my mouse over here, you see now I send CCW on, and if I press CW on, and if I press this, it says CCW on, and that is where it comes from, this code CCW. And here this one, it says do on. If I press it again, it says do off for the motor question mark do off, motor question mark do on. And the same way, motor question mark CW, motor question mark CW equal on. This was part of the code. I have not changed it. Here, enter your SSID for your Wi-Fi. Make sure to enter it exactly as it is, because uppercase and lowercase matter, and it will not work. And enter your Wi-Fi password here. These are part of it. I did not change it. And here, this will run the server at a port 80, and this is handling the page and generating that HTML that you saw in here. It is coming from here, and it is defined here as a string type of a variable called HTML, which holds all the values of the text in here. And this portion is printing that the text in this one, CCW. So one is printing CW, the other one is printing CCW, this one is printing off. And here, this is one button that when it is red and green, and this is when it is red. And this is other button for CW when it is red and then green. And this is turn on and turn off for this. So this has two states. You see it become red, green. So this has two state. That's why we have 6 sections here. And at the end, we are just printing this. We are sending the page using server send, this HTML, as a type text and HTML. This handle not found is a portion of the code that handles if any request comes. For example, this is /motor. If I type book question mark page equal 12, this says book argument 1 page is 12 not found, and this function is taking care of that. You see file not found, and it prints all the argument that I've entered. I've not changed that at all. And here inside the setup, we define one relay 1 pin as an output using pin mode and digital write. We are setting the initial state of the one relay, and this is for the second relay. And this is initializing the serial monitor with 115,200 baud. This number must match. You see here at the lower corner, it must be the same number, this 115,000. For example, if I change it, you will see something like this. And this was already part of it. I did not change it. This is printing the dots when it is connected to Wi-Fi. This is printing the SSID and the Wi-Fi. Press the reset button on the device and stop the scroll. This is what it prints. So you can access the IP address of your NodeMCU from this address on the browser, or you can type this value multicast DNS. This will not work in every network or every device, but it makes it very easy, because if this changes, this does not change. This will be always the same, and you can copy and paste it in your browser, as you can see here, ESP8266. So this is multicast DNS, MDNS. We have defined it here, and we have printed this text. This handle root is taking care of requests when there is nothing just an IP address. And when it is /motor of type get, then we run relay control, which is at the bottom of the code, which I'm going to explain. These are already part of the code. I have not changed them. Inside the loop, here server handler client is looking to see if there is any request, and this is updating the multicast DNS. I've not changed them, they were there. This is what I've added. Motor state, if it is equal 1, we say run motor control, because it means run the motor. If it is off, else, we say motor stop. So inside the loop, I've just put this one, nothing else, with 100 millisecond delay. Now the relay control is here. We check the server argument ID, which is coming from the array at the top. If it is equal on, then motor direction equals 0. If CW is equal on, then we set the direction equal 1. So this variable is just changing from 0 to 1. And if server argument that motor is equal on, then we set the motor state equal on. Otherwise, else if it is off, we set it equal 0. And motor control is a function that when you run it, it checks if a direction is equal 1. So we change the two relays state. We set the relay 1 low and relay 2 high. So one relay is on, the other relay is off. The motor will rotate in one direction, in CCW direction. Else, if it is not 1, then we change the relay 1 to high and then low. Pay attention, this was low high, and here it is high low, and the motor will rotate in the other direction. And that's the complete code. Here's a demonstration with D1 Mini. First, we have to make sure that your computer or your the desktop is connected to the same Wi-Fi as this D1 Mini. As you can see, this is connected to Robojax Wi-Fi, and here I've accessed it using Robojax ESP8266. And open the serial monitor and then press this reset button here. I'm pressing it. Just wait. When it connects to Wi-Fi, let me stop the auto scroll. Here, this is the IP address 192.168.1.101, or you can access it Robojax ESP8266. This is now working in ESP8266, but 192.168.1.101. Press enter, and here is the page. I can increase the size and I can decrease the size by pressing Control minus if I want, like that, or if I increase it. I've designed it such that the button will wrap up to the next line, so that's no worries. When the motor starts rotating, it will rotate, so I have to hold it with my hand and making sure also I give you enough room so you can see it. It says motor is off because this is already in CCW. You can see that it is running. And now I can change it to CW, or I can just press and go to that. And here's the demonstration with NodeMCU ESP8266. Now this shows CCW and the motor is off. If I turn on the motor will rotate in CCW direction. And as you can see, it is rotating. If I turn it off, it shows off. Now I can change the direction to CW, and if I turn it on, it goes into the other direction. Smaller motor, but it's not safe if you have a load or something. You can not just go from CW to CCW, but for a smaller motor you can do so. Now I'm going to demonstrate it here, but it is not safe because some motors will get damaged. So you have to stop it, give it enough time. And here, pay attention here. And here's a demonstration using your mobile device. First, you have to be connected to the same Wi-Fi as the NodeMCU. I'm connected to Robojax. Now I've opened the 192.168.1.100 for this module. 100, that's IP address directly. And let me turn it on. Now it is in clockwise direction. Change the direction to counterclockwise. Here is the demonstration with smaller motor. This is a 5 volts motor. Desktop. Thanks for watching. This was how to control a DC motor using 2 relay with NodeMCU over Wi-Fi. If you like this video and learned something, please thumb up, as this will help my video in the search algorithm of YouTube. If you have comment or question, post it at the comment section below. I try to answer and reply. If you want to get updates of my upcoming videos, make sure to subscribe. You can get the code for this by clicking at the link below the video in the description, which will take you to robojax.com/learn/Arduino.